Welcome in, everyone, to episode 108 of Instigate Success Building an ABA Franchise, the official podcast of your Hoosier State Instigators. We are officially rolling here in season three. We just wrapped up our first home game of season three. Um, and again, just want to say thank you to all of you who are Patreon subscribers. And if you are not a Patreon member, remember, that is where you can get access to all of the games for the season. So all the games that we are able to stream will be streamed over on the Patreon. And again, that's at that dollar tier or higher. Anybody that is a dollar tier or higher gets access to the games live. So this week we had our first home game against the Ohio Kings, our first full game in season three under or on the books now. So I know this is something we've hit on a little bit before, but officially we have taken the court, finished a game in season three, and that is a huge step not only for myself and everyone else involved with the instigators. Again, thank you to all the fans and everyone who has helped make this possible. Players, coaches, sponsors, everybody has watched any of these streams, and again, especially the fans. But season three, it's huge for us. We are under the way. Um, for myself and a lot of the other people who kind of uh, Corey and Spacely, Frosty, Corey. We came from the fan-controlled realm, and they had 2 seasons. We are on our third season. So for us to take the court and get that game in, it's a huge step, I think, for all of us, and I think it's a big step, for us to see that we're able to do that. Obviously we are doing things a little bit differently than fan controlled, but to be able to still be here, still have all you guys here with us is huge, and we truly appreciate that. Um, so without further ado, let's jump into this week's episode. Again, this is episode 108. We are technically 2 games into season three, 2 weeks into season three for us. Some other teams had already played games prior. So let's take a look. Let's start around the league first. Actually, let's take a look around the league first, and then we'll jump over to our games. So we're going to look at the top 25 to start things off. Then we're going to take a look at our games, and then we're going to take a look at the games around the league in general. So let's jump over to the ABA site for their top 25 rankings for this week. Now that I think about it, there might be a little bit of a spoiler when we look at this, but anyways, we'll jump with that first, and then we'll jump back to our game and whatnot. But let's go and share that screen. So you see here the top 25 rankings. Number one, new number one, first time in a very, very long time. Silicon Valley Panthers are the new number one team at 4-0. The Austin Bats at number two, also 4-0. Buffalo Extreme, another team that we have seen consistently ranked up there, 5-0. Nashville Aces up to number four, a team that we have played each and every year. And, a solid team each year that we have faced. But up to number four, very, very hot start for the Aces there. So a top 5 team in um, the ABA to start off the season. If you take a look down there, number 7, the Fury. They got their first loss in like 2 years. They are at 5-1. We'll take a look when we look around the league and see exactly what happened there. But they are still ranked in the top 10. I think even with one loss, that's one loss in 2 years. So I think they probably still deserve that top 10. You jump down to number 11, the Ohio Kings at 4-0. They actually dropped us a couple of spots there with their win, which is interesting. Windy City Inferno, number 13 at 4-0 as well. Another team that we have on our schedule this year. Skimming through, you got the Binghamton Bulldogs at number 18. They're always competitive up there with the Buffalo Extreme in that division. Central PA Kings, my personal local team from where I'm from, at 22 with through a 3-1 record. Indiana Legends with a hot start, their best start in a season so far, at 3-1. They're already up to. They're still in the top 25. They're at number 23. Chicago Knights, also another team that we have seen, maybe not in our games, but with similar opponents. They're at 3-1 at number 24. And then tied for that last spot there in the top 25 is Clarksville Phoenix, a team we have played in the past. So that's kind of your top 25, at least the teams within, not only our region, or I guess mostly within our region, but some of the other teams there, that we've seen in the playoffs in the couple of years that we've seen. So again, we're going to break down that a little bit further because obviously we got a couple of things shaking up in that top 25 rankings. Obviously, the Fury. That's the big news for the week, I think, in the ABA around the league. I know there was also another showdown of top 25 teams, which we'll probably hit on here too. Um, but again, a lot of teams that we have played and will be playing still in that top 25 ranking. So still a good thing to keep an eye on throughout the not only the week but throughout the season. So let's jump over to what we had this past week. So our home opener was against the Ohio Kings, team we faced off against a bunch of times. We are still looking for our first win against them, though. So let's see. I think I got that graphic here for that. Is this one? Let me see that. So the home opener was November 8th, this past Saturday, against the Ohio Kings at Best Choice Fieldhouse. Again, that is our official home venue for season 3, just as it was for season 2. So we're really glad to be back at Best Choice. I made it out to the game. I got there in about the middle of the third quarter. So I unfortunately did not get to see the whole game, but I did get to see some of the game. We'll talk a little bit more about what happened this weekend for me, but that'll be a little bit later in the show. So regardless, we got the home opener. We had a nice crowd out there. I came in the third, and it was still a pretty full crowd. And everybody, again, if you haven't been out there, you can get a front row seat, courtside seats. They are available for each and every person. They wrap pretty much all the way around the court, aside from where the benches are and scoreboard, etc. So pretty much, you got a great view to see it anywhere you want to go. And this week we did stream the game. It was streamed a little bit differently. Um, Apologize for yawning. That's why I've got my W. Here's a promo. I finally got. Minimize that for a second here. W, one of our sponsors, W.GG. You can go to that website and get yourself some jitterless energy with W. Use code Apex Athletics for 10% off your order. It is a great product, which I got myself a bottle of there that I will be using because I will be going to work shortly after this until about 3 in the morning, a little bit after that. So I'll definitely need some that W to keep me awake throughout the night. And if you need energy, especially jitterless energy, that is a great product to get. Again, that's W.GG, and you can use Apex Athletics for 10% off your order. So there's a shameless promo there. But anyways, back to the home opener. We streamed it a little bit differently this week. Headphones went on a little bit earlier than normal this week. Okay. But yeah, streamed it a little bit differently. So we had the um, stationary camera this week. Again, that's different. For season one, we had the cameraman. We had Rob there. He'd use the tripod and go back and forth. Carrying it was a blind camera actually. So he pretty much just went off of what it looked like would be good, and we go back and forth. Did an amazing job on that. And then season two, we had the AI camera. This time around, we just had the stationary camera set up in the corner. Do think we're going to be going back to that AI camera. It was just some logistics with getting everything set up for the first game. So camera angle is not the greatest. It's in the corner on one of the sidelines by the benches, but it does provide a field of view for the game, which is adequate, as well as access to the scoreboard or a video of the scoreboard throughout the game too. So apologies for that if the quality wasn't quite up to what you guys had seen last season. Again, we're probably going to be going back to that. It's just some logistics with getting everything set up for the first game. But we did stream that as well, with what we did have available at the time. So if you did get to catch it, if you didn't, you can also watch the replay of it over on YouTube. And that is where you can catch all of the replays of the games. So anytime these games are finished and you want to catch the replay, once they're uploaded fully, they will be over on the YouTube. That goes not only for this season, but our prior season. So if you wanted to watch games from season one or season two, you can also watch those over on our YouTube channel. It's just Hoosier State Instigators over on YouTube, and you can watch those games as well as you can rewatch these podcasts there too. But that is where you can rewatch stuff. You want to watch those live? Remember, you can become a Patreon member if you are not already to catch those games live. So this week, again, or this past week, we played against the Kings. Still looking for our first win against them, and I'll jump over to guess a box score. I think we have that on our new website now that I think about it. Let's pull that up. I'm gonna double check. Yeah, okay. We got that over on the website. So let's jump over to the new Instigators website to check out how that works and see how the game went. So let's jump over there. So here's our main page. As you can see here, it is updated. So you see there, you got your tickets. It does update. So these games in the past, the home opener is gone. You can get this week's game against Louisville Pros tomorrow at 7:30 against the Louisville Pros. But we'll go in that in a little bit. But you can see our upcoming schedule. So we got this game tomorrow, and then we've got a break all the way till December 13th. Maybe a teaser, maybe a big announcement. Something with that. Then we got the December 20th game. Then we got a break again until January. And we'll be playing the Monstars. But anyways, click for season tickets. Oh, and then look, this is what I just had mentioned. Dubby, Jitterless Energy. Use code Apex Athletics for 10% off. You got your shop here. Click here to get to all items. Then you also got, some highlights, the Apex Athletic Collective Patreon. Again, that's where you're going to be able to get some of your streaming for the games. You can click over there. But let's jump over to the schedule. And you can see here we've got the full schedule on here. And we've got the game that we just had played against the Kings. So that's our first game there. So we can see there 11-8 was played against the Kings, a 137 to 107 loss. And you can see this is our new stats, new layout for that. So different than what you may have seen in the past. But here are the stats it looks like for the game. Again, I came in the third quarter about halfway through, so I'm assuming these are all proper and correct, which I hope they are because they are up on the website like this. Um, I would believe they are. Just looking at it roughly, that looks like about 107 as far as the points if you add it up. It looks like David Kelly, DK, led the team in points with a solid 29 points and 5 rebounds in his first game as an instigator. Then it looks like Steve had 20 and 7. A solid game from both of them. Then we've got in the double digits as well. LB also with 9 rebounds and 5 assists, 3 steals and 3 blocks. And then Malcolm Martin with 18 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists, and 3 steals. Um, and then that's all of our double digit scores. I will say I know I seen a couple of dunks from Steve in the time when I got to the game. I think I also saw some threes from DK there as well. Um, but we've also got, just looking at skimming through here. Looks like maybe not points wise, but with the other categories, we got Joseph Michael Cook with 7 rebounds and 8 assists, leading the team with assists in the game. You also have Dame with 7 rebounds and 6 assists. And I believe both of those guys are guards, so that's good rebound numbers for some guards to be putting up, and then definitely solid on the assist for both of them. And Dame also with 5 steals. That's a team leading number there with 5 steals. Um, wonder. Let's see if we click on it. Oh, it breaks down even further, so that's cool. Again, this is a new website, so we're learning as we're doing this. But you can click on a player. So here's DK, 29 points, 5 rebounds, 1 assist, 5 of 13, and 5 of 15 for threes, with 4 of 6 from the free throw line. So we've got that. So yeah, it breaks it down a little bit further when you click on the players. So that's cool. I didn't know that ahead of time. So yeah, yeah. So it looks like we can do that for each of the players on there. It looks like it breaks it down by points, rebounds, assists, and then their shooting numbers there. So pretty cool. Obviously this is a new site. I really like the layout with everything on here, and I definitely think it's cool. You can click on the players there, and kind of get a further breakdown on some of their stats. Um, obviously we got some guys returning. Dame returning. One of our points from last season. Greg as well returning. LB, Malcolm, and Steve all returning. And we can see they put up pretty solid numbers across the board. Um, Levante also is returning this season as well. Then we've got new guys. We got Aaron Robinson, DK, Hayden, Joseph Michael Cook, Bell, Nate, and Tion. So you can see there, pretty much, I'd say it's almost 50-50 as far as new and returning guys from last season. Um, but you can see there, obviously, first game, room for improvement there. The turnovers across the board is not the greatest. If you add those up, that's a good, not a good number. A larger number than you would want to see, with turnovers. So I think that's obviously going to be one of the keys this week to try to cut that number down, and try to focus on limiting those turnovers, especially with the ABA rules. Turnovers in the backcourt allow for the 3D opportunities, and it's a very quick and easy way to take advantage um, of those turnovers and get extra points off of it. But it is we're still looking for that first win against the Kings. Um, and then we've got coming up tomorrow the game against the Louisville Pros, and that is going to be 7:30 tip. Again, that's at Best Choice Fieldhouse again. Our home venue. So if you can make it out there, obviously we highly recommend to do that. Uh, Definitely a great venue. Being out there again, just like last year, an amazing venue to be out at. And I'll be up there probably at least once a month. Obviously, if I was a little closer, I'd be there for every game. But I'll be there at least once a month. So Louisville Pros, though, we do have a little bit of a better record against them. We have a couple of wins against them, as well as some losses too. Um, Very tough team when we play them. Very physical team. Normally more of a defensive struggle hold. It seems like in those games. Some of our few games that we've been held under 100 points were against the Louisville Pros. So definitely, I think it'll be a little bit different than this past week's game. I don't anticipate quite as high scoring, but definitely, I think that's going to be a defensive um, a game to watch. If you love that type of stuff, they're one of the better defensive teams throughout the league as well. I know they typically are up there towards the top in steals, especially. Um, but again, that's tomorrow, 7:30 tip. Best Choice Fieldhouse in Fishers, Indiana. If you're local, if not, you can catch the stream over on Patreon. Um, but that is going to be our second home game of the season. Obviously, we want to get things rolling here to start the season off right, and try to get things going. So you got that. We're gonna take a look across the league and see what happened this past week. Let's pull up this past week's games, and then we're going to go back and take a look at the leaders throughout the league as well as standings. Um, so this past week would be the week of November 8th. All right, there we go. We got that up and running. So obviously this isn't really filtered. This is just across the league in general. But you can see just skimming through here, our game there against the Ohio Kings, 137-107. The Windy City Inferno there with a 138-108 victory over the Chicago Rebels. Austin Bats, one of the top three teams there, 181-93, huge win there. Almost 200 points, that's crazy. Then you can see scrolling through Indiana Lions, one of the other local teams in Indiana with a victory, a 115-194 victory over the Chicago Knights. And oh, that was the game. That makes more sense. I forgot that was the game this week. We'll look at this one a little further, and then we'll look at yeah, okay, they got stats on here. The Buffalo Extreme against the Chicago Fury. This is again, this has a lot to do with the way the ABA has changed the scheduling for this year. So it's less of kind of up to the owners and the teams. And obviously when it's like that, it's easier to schedule against teams with in kind of the closer proximity. Um, but now it's more of to do with your rankings within the division and the region and the standings. So this was one of those games that got set up by that. A Buffalo, obviously Buffalo and Chicago, a little bit of travel there. So the Chicago Fury traveling to Buffalo to face the Extreme. And they got their first loss in like 2 years, an 8-point loss, 118-126. But we see looking at the Fury, Capri Austin led the way again as he had last season with 25 points, 19 rebounds, and a block. Solid effort from him. Um, Then we take a look over at the Buffalo Extreme. Got Javon McCray with 31 points and 17 rebounds. Power forwards. I think both of those guys, yeah, both of the teams look like they were led by the power forwards. So that must have been a great game to watch. Um, with a similar type of a setup there. But you look at the rebounding numbers. I mean, 19 for Austin. Then you got 17 here for McRae, 14 for Hawkins, 15 for Fagan. Just some kind of crazy numbers there with the rebounding. But yeah, so their first loss in a few years for the Fury, and it comes at the hands of the Buffalo Extreme. So I'm a little surprised the Extreme didn't go even higher in the rankings. I kind of would have thought following that maybe they would jump up to the number one spot, um, but they did not. So that's interesting. Now that I remembered they were facing off against each other this past weekend, I had forgotten that. Um, Makes sense why obviously the Fury are still going to be in the top 10 of the rankings. But the Buffalo Extreme, I feel like maybe you have the argument to be the number one team after that. Um, Regardless, then we've got you see the Indiana Legends with a 5-point victory at 127-122 over the Missouri Capitals. St. Louis Spirit with a loss there 112 to 142 against the North Tulsa Natives. Clarksville Phoenix with an 8-point win, 114-106 over Knoxville Commerce. Skimming through here. We can see Binghamton Bulldogs. Again, that's another team that's pretty solidly ranked. 144 to 67. That's one of the lower ends that you'll see in the ABA as far as scoring goes. And then we see the Shuckers with a 152-142 win over the Louisville Pros. Let's take a look at that as we will be facing off against the Louisville Pros tomorrow. And it looks like that's their old logo. Their new logo is that one that's black and white. But you see there's some solid scores from the pros in there. 36 points from their center. So that's definitely going to be a guy to keep an eye on. Also with 20 rebounds there, Anthony Southers. And we've got Dominique Williams, somebody that's a solid player each and every year for the pros. 32 points, 14 rebounds, and 17 assists, a triple double there. Yeah, Shamar Overstreet with another guy with a triple double. Again, a solid player for the pros. 12 points, 10 rebounds, and 10 assists. Also 6 steals. Again, this is what I was telling you. This is a team you've got to watch on the defensive effort, especially on the steals. 7 for Williams, 6 for Overstreet. You got 5 for you got bunch of steals there. 26 overall on the team. Shockers, it looks like they did not put their stats for the players on. But a higher scoring game than we normally see, I think, for some of the pros games, 142, 152. And that's also the first win on the season for the Shockers, who we will be playing in our next home game following this week's game against the pros. So looking at both of those teams, we go over to the Sunday games. We see the Chicago Fury stayed up in New York and played against Rochester there with a decisive win over them with a 116-95 score. Then we skim over here. Buffalo Extreme also with a doubleheader weekend there with a 156-101 victory over Akron. SVP doesn't look like they got a score up there for their game, but that is the number one team currently in the ABA. And we see here to transfer over points per game. We got Karen Linton at 52 points per game. Guessing that is Tucson. We're gonna take a quick look over on that. Yeah, Tucson. And he's just got one game. So that is a very solid game and very, very efficient from the floor there. 11 of 12 on twos, 8 of 14 on threes, and 4 of 6 on the free throws. So maybe a couple more free throws he could have hit. But yeah, so that's Tucson buckets guard there leading the way right now off of the one game. I think Mook Bates the Central PA Kings has a few games under his belt, averaging 47.3 with a couple of games over 50. But you can see there, top 10 all averaging 40 plus. Looking at assists per game, you got Taekwon Stroman with 21 assists a game. That's got to be one game. Yeah, okay. I was gonna say it's off a one game sample there for the New York Lights. But a forward there with 6'6" leading the way with assists. That's kind of crazy to see. Um, got that, and then if you scroll down here, Dominique Williams again. That's he's going to be on the team we're playing this week tomorrow, as well as Shamar Overstreet. We take a quick look at both of those guys. Dominique there again, 17 and 9 for assists. I feel like he might also wind up being on the steals there with 5 and a 7. And then Overstreet, 10 and 12, and then 6 and 6 for both of those respectively. Rebounds per game. Yeah, Anthony Southers. Again, that's another Louisville Pros guy, kind of leading the way there. The center power forward, 6'7". So definitely somebody we'll have to keep an eye on. 28 rebounds in the first game. That's against the Ohio Kings. I'm not. Yeah, that's got to be. Yeah, that's the Ohio Kings. 28 rebounds against the Kings. That's crazy. And then 20 rebounds the last game against the Shuckers. So yeah, we're definitely gonna have to try to limit the boards there for Southers. Um, 24 rebounds leading the way. Capri Austin, um, with the Chicago Fury at 19 per game. And then steals per game. Like I said, I thought we were going to see these guys up here in the leaderboards. We've got Shamar Overstreet at 6, as well as Dominique Williams, also both them at 6 in the top 10. And then we got Antonio Hunt with 6.7 leading the way on the season so far for the Texas Purple Kings. So 7, 8, and 5 on the season for his games. And then we're going to take a look at the standings. So in the Central Blue Division, smaller division there, you see the Yellow Jackets and Hessa Bucket both with 1-0 records, and you got the Akron Aviators at 0-3. The Cougars yet to play a game there. Then we got our division here, the Red Division, Nashville Aces up to number 4 on the power rankings. 5-0, the Ohio Kings at 4-0. They actually dropped from number 9 to number 11, which is a little surprising. You got the Indian Legends at 3-1, another team in the top 25. And those are going to be your top 25 teams in this division. Then we've got the Lions there, 3-2. So they've got a good number of games under their belt already. Clarksville Phoenix at 2-1. Shuckers got their first win this past week with a 1-3 record. We are technically 0-2. And then we've got the Knoxville Commerce and the Louisville Pros at 0-3 as well. We look at the Black Division, our division from last season. We can see the Inferno actually jump over the Fury with that with their loss there, and take over with a 4-0 record for the Inferno, 4-1 for the Fury. So first time they've dropped from that number one spot in the division. Knights at 3-1, Rebels and Frost both 0-3. And the last teams in the Central Division here in the White Division there, or Central Region, White. This is the White Division. We've got the Natives technically leading the way with 1 win and 2 losses. Missouri Capitals at 1-5. The other teams all looking for their first win, the 402 Elite, St. Louis Spirit, and the Western Oklahoma Bulls. Over in the East, we've got the Lightning leading the way for the Blue Division at 5-0. Then we've got the White Division with the Extreme leading the way at 5-0. Another couple of solid teams there. We see Philly Thunder at 4-2, Central PA Kings 3-1, Syracuse Monarchs, which is like a real old school name there, 3-1. Binghamton Bulldogs at 2-1. And then we also got down here in the East Black Division, a few teams undefeated. The Long Island Strong Arm at 4-0, Colts at 1-0. Scrolling down to the Red Division in the East, the 96ers at 3-0, leading the way, the only undefeated team in that division. Then you also got the Delaware Dogs. Or no, I take that back. The DC Senate are also technically undefeated at 1-0, but somehow it's got the DC Dogs ahead of them with a 2-1 record. Guessing technically because they've won more games. That's how it's going by. So then we look at the South. Over in the South, we got the Mississippi Silverbacks, a team I think we've seen a few times on that top 25 at 4-0. Tri-City also undefeated at 2-0. You got a few teams there with some single losses on there. And then we also see, I do shout out the Mississippi Delta Lucky Ducks at 0-2 on the season. One of the teams that I recommend to give a follow over on the social media. They're pretty good at that. Looking at the South region over in the Blue Division, Austin Bats leading the way at 4-0. Purple Kings at 3-0, also undefeated. Then we jump down to the Red Division. Atlanta Defenders, not the Aliens. Normally it's the Aliens we see there towards the top, but the Atlanta Defenders at 5-0, leading the way with the Chattanooga Strike just behind them at 4-0. And then over in the South region, White Division, the Tropics at 4-0, which I thought they had a big game this week, but maybe I was mistaken. Maybe it did not happen. Oh, it's this week. Okay, never mind. It's the game coming up this week, tomorrow. This is the game I had in mind. So yeah, they are still undefeated. This will be a big game. I was surprised because they were ranked, and I didn't think they were in the rankings this week when I seen it. So I thought maybe they had already played this game. So they did not. They play the Aces tomorrow. That's going to be a big game. So obviously we got a big game tomorrow against the Louisville Pros, but this is a cool game I think to also keep an eye on throughout this weekend. The Aces, top 5 team now, and the Tropic undefeated in their first season, and they've got some cool stuff going on with the Tropic. So that'll be a good game to watch. And they are obviously leading their division at 4-0 over the County Royals. They're at 2-1. Out west, we've got the Bull Snakes leading the Division A, I guess is what it's called. Then we've got in Division B, the Suns with a 5-0 record. The Mob just behind them at 4-0. Guy Levy Legends also at 4-1, not too far behind, as well as the Las Vegas Royals. And then in the Beta Division A, We got the San Jose Wolfpack over the San Jose Knights for right now with a 2-1 versus an 0-4 record. Then we got the number one team in the country, the Silicon Valley Panthers, at 4-0, leading the way in their division. And you can see only a few teams there listed for teams at large. We went 2-for-1 with that this week. Um, yeah, so that's what we got coming up there. Again, reminder, the game is tomorrow night. Let's throw that graphic back up. Tomorrow night at 7:30 for the tip at Best Choice Fieldhouse, Fishers, Indiana. Again, that is the same home venue as we had last season. Think we got that up again. Yeah, we got that up again. You can scan that QR code to get your tickets now. And we hope to see you there in person at Best Choice Fieldhouse. But this will be our last home game of this month. Our next home game is going to be about a full month away, December 13th, against the Indiana Shockers. So we'll give out a little teaser. So we will be having a big announcement on Sunday. So keep an eye out for that. Obviously, we got game tomorrow, so we're not going to be making announcements during the game on a game day. It is about the game tomorrow. That is what the day is. So that's what tomorrow is going to be. The main focus is that game tomorrow against the Louisville Pros. Um, it's a game that we can win. We have won, but it's always a defensive effort and a defensive struggle. It seems sometimes in these matchups, and hopefully we can overcome some of that. Obviously a very physical team. But team we know we have won against, so it is a team that we can beat. But either way, it's going to be a good game tomorrow. Best Choice Fieldhouse, 7:30 tip off. Again, you scan that QR code, get your tickets now, or you can come at the door. It's $10. So we hope to see you there. But that is our game tomorrow. And a reminder, if you're streaming it, that should be over on our Patreon as well. And it should be anybody with a dollar tier or higher. So that is what we got coming up this weekend. Um, the next home game after that is going to be the game against the Shuckers on December 13th. See that there. So we're going to be on the road after this week. We'll have a road trip against the Kings and then a road trip against the Pros there. So we'll be flip flopping the games that we just played that we played last week and then this week. So we'll be flipping to home and away with them. And then we've got the next home game is that home and away series against the Indiana Shuckers on the 13th and 14th. But just keep an eye out. There will be a big announcement for that game. Potentially our first celebrity player. That is all I'm going to say for this time. But next week, obviously, we'll be talking about a little bit more. And Sunday, you'll be seeing an announcement on it as well. So keep an eye out for that. And obviously, catch the game tomorrow. Yeah, and then as far as I said that I didn't get out to the game until about the third quarter. I had a little bit of stuff to do. I flew into Chicago Friday night. I was out in the area all throughout Saturday, and then flew back early Sunday morning. But in Saturday before the game, this is the reason why I was not able to make it fully to the game on time, was I had a movie shoot. So that was cool. And I think we got a couple of pictures from that. Yeah, so that was a close-up picture there of the scene that I was in. So I had a couple of scenes, and one of them does involve me dying. So the somebody hit me over the head with a wrench, and that is ultimately what it looks like. So special effects, obviously, that's some makeup and stuff, cosmetics and whatnot up on my face there. Um, but that is what I was doing. I was doing that, and you see the hoodie there. Um, Sure, this one instead. So this is the hoodie. It is Instigators related. So I had a whole like kind of tracksuit that I had ordered for the movie shoot, and I was looking forward to getting that, and it must have got lost in the mail or something because it said it arrived like 2 days before I went to fly up, and it never arrived, and there's no picture of it arriving. So I don't know what happened. Just didn't show up, I guess. So instead, I went to Michael's and just bought a hoodie they had there and some markers, and this is what I came up with. So obviously, our slogan, the Be Great Instigate, and then the Hoosier State Instigators, the initials over on the side. And that's pretty much because I had the B grade I had the B grade lined up very well, and then I figured the Instigate would fit, and then I realized I was writing much too large, so I had to add the HSI over on the side, so it didn't look like I just ran out of space with the Instigate and kind of just threw it to the side there. Um, but nonetheless, it is an Instigators related hoodie there that you probably will be seeing in the film. The film name will be Unholy Cheese. So that's another film to keep an eye on in the future. I think it'll be out probably next year. Still got some shooting to do, I think, up until then, including into the new year. But that is the reason why I was a little late for the game. Um, so that's the news for this past week. Next week, I think we'll have a little bit more to talk about, especially with our announcement that we'll have this Sunday, and then obviously the game tomorrow. Another our last home game of this month. Um, 7:30 tip. Again, that's Best Choice Fieldhouse Fishers, Indiana, and streaming on Patreon. So we hope to see all of you there, whether it's physically or virtually. Really looking forward to having you at the game. But you see there's our upcoming schedule the rest of the year. We got the game tomorrow at home. Then we go on the road against the Ohio Kings, on the road against the Pros. Then we got that home and away series against the Shuckers, and then we wrap up the year, not the season, but the year with a home game against the currently ranked Indiana Legends. Um, but that's really going to be it for tonight's episode. Thank you, as always, everyone, for joining us on Instigate Success, Building an ABA Franchise, the official podcast of your Hoosier State Instigators. Um, Again, keep an eye out for that announcement on Sunday. It'll be a big announcement, I think. Again, it might have something to do with a celebrity player. Might be the first time we've ever talked about that or had that happen in a game. So really looking forward to that. That'll be fun. Um, but until then, obviously I've got to um, chug this W here, so I'll be ready to get off the stream and go back to work till 3 something in the morning. But anyways, until then, here's the schedule. Get your tickets. Go on the website, scan the QR code on the socials that we've been posting with the tickets, um, and get your tickets ahead of time for tomorrow's game, 7:30 tip-off. Otherwise, we will see you next time around. Thank you as always for joining us. Again, thank you to everyone who's helped make us get here to season 3, all of the fans, players, coaches, sponsors, supporters, anybody that's tuned in, anybody that's even accidentally clicked on us. Thank you for helping us get us to season 3. Again, that's a huge step for us. But now we've got to get our first win in season 3, so hopefully that is tomorrow. Um, But until then, as always, be great and instigate.